All right, so now I've got a rocket tube here. Yours might end up being a little shorter. I think I might cut these guys in half because they're a little bit long. But what they are is the right diameter, meaning they're the right size around for our rockets to fit on and be able to shoot off from the launcher. See, it goes right on there. And we've got a launcher machine that shoots air through this, and that's what's going to make your rocket fly if we get to launch it. Okay, depends upon the weather, I bet. Oh, by the way, I also found a marker, which is going to make it a lot easier to put my name on things. So, Mr. Pat, and I would say maybe I'll just pretend I'm in P1, period 1. And that way, if I lose this guy, I'm not going to, go, hey, I'll have to make a new nose cone and do all that work over again. All right. So now I've got my body tube. All right. And I'm going to take this white plastic tube and I'm going to kind of gently roll it around here. My goal again is not to have a lumpy or wrinkled rocket. Nobody's ever seen a lumpy or wrinkled rocket fly in space before. So I kind of use that. And you can see I've kind of got this edge here overlapping, okay? These ends do not meet perfectly. I'm overlapping on one side. And if you look on this paper, they've drawn out places with the dotted lines here and here and here. And those are the first few places you're going to want to tape this guy. Okay, now it's a little tricky holding it when you get that first piece of tape on. Remember my old tape trick using the edge of the desk. I know I'm going to need 5 or 6 pieces of tape, so I'm going to think ahead. Get these guys ready. Wrap this up nice and neat. Make sure my end is even with the end here. And I'm going to take a piece of tape, put it right on there. My job is to try to not tape it to the tube, just tape the paper to itself. And see, I'm kind of pulling that tape down as I go. I'm making this nice and tight. Remember I said no lumps, right? No lumps, no wrinkles if you can avoid it. So I did the one at the top. I'll probably do one in the middle here. Start here. And that's the part I know is going to overlap. So you can kind of see if I tuck this under and kind of pull. Now we want this to fit tight around this tube, but it also should be able to slide in and out. If it doesn't slide in and out on the tube, then boy, your rocket might not want to fly. So we want it tight so no air escapes, but we also don't want it so tight that the rocket won't shoot off. So I've got it taped here and here. Looks like I'll put another one here, maybe a couple of other places. This is a spot where if I'm not careful and I get the tape on the plastic over here, I could tape my rocket to the thing, and that would be sad. It would mean we'd have to cut it off and maybe start over again. Nobody wants to do that. So I'm being somewhat careful with this, certainly this top and bottom piece of tape there, okay? There's my tube poking out again, kind of even with the end. All right, and let me fill this guy in. And maybe one more piece. Now eventually I'm going to want to fill this entire tube of paper with circles of tape like this. So all the way from here to here, when I come back to this video later, that's all going to be covered in tape, which will make it look kind of like this rocket, where it's all different layers of tape. And again, this kid did a pretty nice job of doing it where there's not a lot of lumps. Maybe here, a little bit where the nose cone joined, and maybe a little bit here, but overall a nice, neat job, okay? So your job is to continue working on this body tube until you've got the tape all the way around it the whole way. And I'm going to pause here for a minute. When I come back through the magic of video editing, you'll be able to see that I've done that, okay? Okay, so there's my body tube. Put my name on it right there. Looks pretty good. Now, I got it very wrinkle free, hardly any lumps or wrinkles there, and it still does slide, not easily, but it does go off and on this tube, which is pretty cool. All right, now I'm going to take one end of this. In fact, I'll keep it on the tube, I guess. Oh, can I get it back on? It's going to be a bit of a trick. There we go. All right, so on this end, I'm going to have it, see how I've got the paper a little bit below. There's like maybe an inch there. And if I'm just gonna fold that in with my thumb, come across and fold that in with my thumb, and fold that in with my thumb, and fold all four of those guys until it's actually kind of reminds me of like when you have a roll of pennies or something, where they fold the ends down. And that's going to keep the air, when I shoot this rocket off, inside the rocket tube and not just blow my nose cone off and leave the rest of my tube on the launcher. Okay, so right now is a good idea for me to just take a quick piece of tape, put it across here, make this nice and neat. Again, trying not to be lumpy, but I think lumps at this part are a little bit unavoidable. Okay, but that looks pretty good. Okay, and now my rocket still goes on and off the tube, like so. And what I'm going to do next is take this nose cone, which was the first part I built, and kind of connect it, line it up as straight as I can. And these tabs are to help me make my nose cone fit onto my rocket body. All right. Use my magic tape trick here. I guess you don't have to use the scissors if you don't want. All right, so I've got my nose cone here. I'm just kind of trying to make sure that's nice and straight as much as I can. And then I'm going to tape this guy on. Might not be 100% perfect, but I'm trying to make sure that my nose is even with my rocket. If my nose is all sticking off, you know, one way or the other, that's going to be a funny looking rocket. So we want to try to make sure that that's pretty straight. That's not terrible. Make a little adjustment there and maybe double up my tape on it once I have it where I like it. Give it some added strength. That's why I mentioned before that one rocket had a little bit of a lump here because of the extra tape kind of holding the nose cone to the thing. Go one more. What the hey? Make sure that guy's on there nice and tight. Sweet. Guys, this is starting to look like a rocket now, isn't it? I take this thing off the tube. All right, that's pretty cool. All right, so now what we need to worry about are my rocket fins. And that's where I'm going to go back to my rocket construction sheet and cut out this guy, okay? Now, it doesn't always work out perfectly, but this is kind of like a cheat sheet to tell you where your fin should go. I'm not a huge fan of using this, but I have found that it makes it a lot less confusing for people. Otherwise, you might have to do some math, and I'm not that good at math, so let's see. Yeah, see, it almost reaches around here. All right, I'm going to turn it this way so you can see the number 3 there. All right, so I got my number 3 there. Anywhere there's a number 3, I'm going to make a mark with my marker. So I got a 3 here. You know what? I'll do it this way. So here's my 3 here. Here's a 3 here. And I think there's a 3 over here somewhere. Yep. And if I look at those marks here, here, and here, I should be able to put my fins exactly where I need them to be. Now this ruler is kind of neat. This little 3-sided ruler here like this. If you lay this guy on here like this, makes it kind of easy to sort of make that line nice and long and straight. Oops, messed up a little bit there, but that's okay. All right, so you see these lines? 1, 2, 3 lines, my little messy line there. That's where my fins are going to go on my rocket. So that's what that rocket fin guide was all about. Okay, so I'm going to pause here, and then I'll show you some tricks for putting your fins on. Or actually, I guess we have to assemble the fins first, and then I'll show you how to put them on.